Hello, and welcome to Every Day is Funny, the meditative morning show about newspaper comics. And you know what? We're reaching the end of the tenor. Today's the 10th commandment in the Church of EDIF. My haphazard attempt to turn a podcast into a religion, purely by making up 10 fake commandments and assuming the paperwork would be easily submittable and things would just kind of fall into place after that. It's a loose premise, but we're at the end. And you know what I thought we were missing is like a secret language that only the members of the Church of EDIF know, so that they can discern who else is a part of the movement. Because I feel like a vocabulary that we all understand will give a major sense of community to the church. And like if you see someone out in the wild, they use an EDIF dictionary word or vocab word, you don't have to talk about how you're both part of it. It'll just kind of be acknowledged. Because you can't say that stuff out loud, because the Church of EDIF is heavily persecuted on the grounds of not being a real religion. So you can't say that stuff out loud. You just need these little minor things that you notice in others to be like, okay, they're one of us. A real us versus them sort of mentality that I certainly think is a very positive and healthy way of going through life. Which leads me to the final commandment, the 10th commandment of the Church of EDIF, which is, for anyone listening, thou shalt come up with a fake word and its definition. I'd love to have a word of the week that we all learn and build up this vocabulary over time. Maybe even make a little physical dictionary book. Who knows? But yeah, thou shalt submit a new word for the Every Dictionary is Funny. And that will transition us out of the religious component and into just a word component. But the religion's still there. We just won't be talking about it as much on the pod, but it's always in the subtext. For my part, the word does not have to be related to the content of this show. The word does not have to be related to the contents of the show. But I'm going to start us off with this new word. Someone who likes podcasts that are half meditation based and half comedic. Because for some reason there's not a word for that yet. And anyway, first entry into this new vocabulary, Zen chuckler. So if all y'all are listening, I hope y'all are Zen chucklers. I assume if you're listening that you are one. But yeah, someone who likes podcasts that are half meditation based and half comedic. Zen chuckler. My ultimate dream with this would be getting it into a one of those kids' spelling bees as the final word. Could you use it in a sentence? Country of origin. This random guy made it up in his room once while he was talking to himself on his phone. You know what I was thinking about though before we get to the comics? It is interesting that, and I guess it makes sense, and maybe this isn't interesting at all, but it's something I just thought and feel the need to say out loud, I suppose. Everybody complains about like people who are anarchists going against the system, and they want to like rebel by doing these actual like physical acts, you know, like these actual things. Nobody ever just becomes an anarchist and makes up new words. But that is going against the system of English that we have set in place and the system of language. I think more people could just be anarchists in a much healthier way by going the word route. You're still being a renegade. You know what I mean? You don't have to resort to like physical violence. Making up words is insane. I'm kind of an anarchist with Zen chuckler. All right, let's get to the comics. All right, let's check out a featured comic that we've never covered on the show, But Comics Kingdom is featuring a comic called Daddy Daze. Daze spelled D-A-Z-E, so that's very funny. A great start. And it says that it's about the special relationship between a father and son. Wow. Paul, the single dad who amicably shares custody of little Angus? Oh. Alright. Single dad. That's all they needed to say. Okay, so little Angus... Little Angus is holding up a sock puppet that looks suspiciously, but I suppose for legal reasons, is not Kermit the Frog. Paul is looking at him. He says, "Hi, sock puppet." Little Angus says, "Ba ba." Paul says, "Oh, you're a snake." Ba ba ba. Then he opens the sock puppet's mouth to reveal fangs. Paul says, "Ah, now I see the felt fangs." What? Yo, am I just like not getting comics as much? Is my like mental health doing the show affecting my ability to comprehend the jokes in these? I feel like within the last week there's been like 3 comics where I'm like, I don't even understand what's going on. I guess it's funny. Can Paul understand Little Angus? It seems like Little Angus, which kind of is a limiting story component for the author of this comic, I would think, because Little Angus can't respond to or like, you know, have any repartee with Paul. But it seems like maybe Paul understands Little Angus. Why does it sound like a sexual euphemism? What kind of name is Little Angus? I think that's the joke. He understands him. But that's probably the joke every time, right? Little Angus made a sock puppet that looks like maybe like a frog, but then... It's also weird because he opens his mouth already in panels 2 and 3 to show no fangs. And then I guess he opens it more and fangs appear. Like, this is some very cleverly constructed sock puppet who the fangs only emit once a certain level of mouth is opened. Little Angus might be a little genius. This might be a Little Man situation with the Wayans brothers, where Little Angus is just playing a role, but he's actually... Maybe the 2 of them are in cahoots and they're cops or something. Also, small thing, why can't Paul's glasses have like the middle connector? It takes the least amount of effort from an illustrator perspective. But without that little connector, it just looks like 2 monocles with sticks on them in a very unsettling way. And it makes me not trust or feel comfortable around Paul or Little Angus. I think the wife had it right when she left this situation. Sock puppet's cool though. Looks a lot like Kermit the Frog. Alright. Man, I know I'm like going back to the Mary Worthwell every day now. And that was usually only a thing I did with Rex Morgan. But I am really fascinated in like seeing this through. Because as we know, Wilbur's daughter is coming to visit. She just showed up after getting kicked out of her mom's house, complaining that the mom kicked her out for just having disagreements that didn't warrant actually getting kicked out, and now she's surprise visiting Wilbur. And yesterday, she surprise visited Mary Worth, again without seemingly telling her that she was coming over. Today we're still in that conversation. Mary Worth is gardening, talking to the daughter named Dawn. Dawn says, "I'm old enough to accept the fact that my mother's human and has her own quirks. It was difficult for us to bond." Mary says, "Don't throw in the towel just yet." And then Mary hands her a rose. She says, "Give it some time and try again in the future." Dawn says, "I don't know. Right now my relationship with Mother seems hopeless." It's a very sweet gesture for Mary Worth. We know already that Mary Worth is a woman who thrives on kindness. She's very sweet, even when people show up at her door unannounced. Again, I don't want to harp on this because I'm saying this every day. We're not getting specifics about why the mother is at fault here. It's just kind of vague accusations. And it seems like Mary's like realizing that and is like trying to distract her with a flower. A beautiful rose, although I will say that her handing it off to her, she's really putting it in her hand right where the thorns are. I don't know if there's supposed to be like symbolism there. But man, so smart from Mary. Like, give it some time, just hold on and try again in the future. Meanwhile, Dawn's father is just like totally agreeing with her because he doesn't like the woman. They're divorced. Of course he's going to side with the daughter, but finally Mary comes in here with some actual sense, and she barely says anything. Like, for a week, Dawn and Wilbur talked, circling around the same focal points of nonsense that just have no specifics. And Mary has said like so little. She just came into the picture and she's like, just relax. Try again in the future. Like, you're just walking around to various people who don't know you're coming and spewing hate about your mom. Just like, take a breather. Everybody calm down. Just try again. And here's a rose. You might get pricked by the thorn, but maybe it'll stop you from talking more about your mom. So maybe I am trying to prick you with this thorn. Because my hand is gloved and I'm safe and yours is not. And I don't care because you're annoying me. Way to go, Mary Worth. It's also a beautifully grown rose. Just the fullest. And she's giving it away. Just to this annoying woman. Really makes you think about the quality of character of Mary Worth. Alright. Rex Morgan MD time. Yesterday we got a weird sidetrack where the bully's father was beating up the bully, and we followed it from the perspective of the random next door neighbors we've never seen before who call the police. Today, we are back at the hospital with Parker and Aunt Judy. And Corey and his dad. Parker says, "Where'd Dr. Morgan go?" Judy says he got called to emergency. Sounded serious. Anyhow, you get to stay overnight for observation and probably get released in the morning. Parker says, "They told me no TV or phones, just rest. Where's the fun in that?" Oh, Parker. You're such a loser. There's a lot of fun in rest, especially when you're an annoying kid. Oh, wait, Whoa, I think I'm right. A few days ago, I was like, oh, are they gonna have the bully show up in the hospital too? And then be seated next to Parker? I think when Aunt Judy says he got called to emergency sounded serious, that is maybe anyone listening put those pieces together 10 minutes ago, but yeah, I think she's referencing the bully situation. Obviously, she must be. I think I'm an idiot. She's definitely referencing the bully being called to the emergency room. Parker's gonna stay overnight for observation. I bet they're gonna cross paths somehow. Maybe the bully would be brought into the room. I would think, though, I guess the hospital wouldn't know that, like wouldn't know the names, because you would be like, maybe they should not put those two same people in the room if you know like the history of what's happening, but why would they know the names of the specific parties? So, wow. No TV or phone, so he's just gonna be sitting here. The bully's gonna get wheeled in. They're gonna have a heart-to-heart that lasts probably 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe Rex Morgan will come in and mediate between them. Say like, fighting's no good. This is a cycle of abuse. You have to stop the cycle. Your dad couldn't do it. It's your mental now, bully. And the bully sheds a tear and he's like, I think you're right, Dr. Morgan. And he's like, yeah, call me doctor. And then they have 2 weeks of conversation about how you should call it doctor, not Mr. And then Parker goes home. Wow. Watch. This is what's going to happen. I promise you. All right, let me think of what to comment. All right, I'm going to comment from the point of view of Aunt Judy. saying he got called to emergency. It sounded serious. And she's going to say something about a bully who got beat up by his dad after he'd punched a kid named Parker in school and got them sent to the hospital. I didn't get all the details, but I'm sure it's nothing. Send. All right. Time to wind down for this Tuesday, July 16th. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for enjoying maybe you didn't enjoy it, but thank you for listening to the EDIF Church Tenor. We are now officially a religion. Please send any new made-up words to everydayisfunnyshow@gmail.com. Have a great rest of your day. And remember, every day is funny.